everyone, welcome to my channel and welcome to day 18 of my 25 Days of Craftmas series. Today I'm showing you how to make this cute Christmas house sign. I found the original houses at Dollar Tree and knew they just needed a little makeover to turn them into something cute for Christmas, and I just love how they turned out. Now let's go take a look at the supply list and get started. For this project you'll need some little wooden houses, and I found mine at Dollar Tree. You'll need some white vinyl, transfer tape, a weeding tool and scraper, paint and brushes, Mod Podge, glitter snow, wood glue, a craft knife, a hot glue gun and glue, Christmas embellishments, a small piece of wood for your stand, and mine measures about 2 3/4 inches by 11 1/2 inches, and of course your Cricut, a cutting mat, and the cut file. So grab your supplies and head over to your computer. The first thing we need to do is grab the SVG file we'll be using for this project. You can get it for free on my blog at burtonavenue.com. I keep all the SVG files for the projects I make and share in my free SVG library. These files will work with all kinds of cutting machines and they're free to everyone. So once you're on my site, just go to Free SVG Files and then Free SVG Library. You will need a password to get into the library, and there are instructions on the screen if you need to get one. For this project, we're going to be using the cut file called There's Snow Place Like Home, BA2118. To find it, just use your browser search and type in 2118. Once you found the file, go ahead and click on the link, and the files will be downloaded onto your computer. Now I'm going to show you how to set up and cut these designs in Cricut Design Space. If you're not sure how to unzip and import designs into Cricut Design Space, be sure to check out my step-by-step tutorial. Now when you unzip the folder, there's actually 2 designs inside of it. There's one that's called Stripes, and it looks just like this, and the other is called There's Snow Place Like Home, and it looks like this. So you'll want to import both of them onto the canvas screen. And once they're both there, we need to resize them so they'll work with our project. To do this, we want to create some house shapes that are the same size as the wooden houses we're using. And you can do this by drawing some triangles and some squares or rectangles. And I've already created my house shapes, so I'm just going to paste them in. So these 2 house shapes are the same size as my wooden houses. And you can just see that I used a rectangle to create this and a triangle up here, and another rectangle and triangle over here. So I just measured my wooden houses and then matched these up so they were the same size. I'm going to click on Arrange and choose Send to Back. And now we just need to resize these 2 designs so they fit on the houses. And I am going to start with this stripes layer. So I'm going to move this house over here, and then I'm going to select the stripes. I'm going to unlock the padlock, and then I'm just going to drag on these arrows and resize the stripes. So I want them a little bit bigger than the house from left to right, and then I want them just a little bit smaller from top to bottom, like that. So I think that that size is going to work good. So now I can just select the house shape and delete it. And so the stripes are done, and now we can work with this design. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to drag on these arrows and resize the design until it looks good on that house shape. Okay, so that design is now about 5 inches wide, and I think that looks good. So I'm going to select the house shape and delete it. The last thing we need to do is select this design and right click and attach. The stripes are already just 1 layer, and there actually isn't even an option to attach those, so those are good. And that is all that we need to do on this canvas screen. So now we can click on the green Make It button. And then you'll be taken to this screen. And this is just going to show us what the design is going to look like on the cutting mat. I'm just going to select this design and scoot it over a little bit so there's some space between the 2 designs. Once everything looks good on this screen, you can click on the green Continue button. And once Design Space finds your Cricut, you'll be taken to this screen. Make sure that your dial is set to vinyl, and then you can go load your cutting mat. So you're going to place a piece of white vinyl on your cutting mat and smooth it down. Load it into your Cricut by pressing the up and down arrow button. When your Cricut is ready to cut, you'll see the C button light up. Press that and the machine will begin cutting. Once everything has been cut, you can press the up and down arrow button again to unload your mat. Remove the vinyl from your cutting mat and trim away any unused portion of the vinyl. Then weed away the excess vinyl from around your designs. You can use a weeding tool to help you pull out the small pieces left inside the letters and shapes. Next, cut a piece of transfer tape a little bit larger than your design and place it sticky side up on your work surface. Then place the vinyl designs on top of that. Rub over the designs with your scraper and then trim off the excess transfer tape and cut apart the two designs. Next, we're going to work on the little wooden houses. You'll want to push the backs off of the wooden frames. The backs are just glued on, so you should be able to do this fairly easily. If there is any glue or paper hanging over the edges of the house frame, you'll need to scrape that off. You can also pull the printed paper off the backing of the houses. This step is optional since the printed paper will be on the back side of the sign and you won't really see it, but I think it looks a little bit nicer to pull it off. So I know you could skip these steps and just paint over the printed paper, but there are two reasons I chose to do it this way instead. First, I think it's way easier to apply vinyl to a flat surface. It would be a little bit tricky to apply the vinyl to the back of the houses with the frame in place, especially all the stripes on the tall house. Second, since the paper is slick, I was kind of worried about the paint sticking, especially when pulling up the transfer tape. That being said, I think either way would work. I would just recommend lightly sanding the paper if you're going to leave the backs in place. Next, we're going to paint. You'll want to do this on the back side of the houses, and if there's a tag, you'll need to pull that off first and then paint on one coat of red paint. After the first coat of paint has dried, you'll want to lightly sand both pieces and then paint on one more coat of red paint and let it totally dry. Once the paint is dry, it's time to apply our vinyl designs. So grab the vinyl stripes and pull off the vinyl backing. Center the stripes on your house. Remember, the stripes should hang over the edges just a little bit from right to left. Firmly rub over the vinyl and then pull off the transfer tape. Since the edges of the stripes are hanging over the edges a little bit, you'll probably need to keep them in place with your finger as you pull off the transfer tape. Apply the vinyl words to the other house. You'll want to use a craft knife to trim off the excess vinyl stripes. Add some glue onto the back of one of the house frames and then smooth it out. I just did this with my finger. Then press the frame onto the backing and repeat with the other house. Glue some Christmas embellishments onto the house with the stripes. Place the two houses on the stand and arrange them in the center. Once you've figured out where they need to go, you can put some glue on the bottom of the front house and glue it in place. Add some glue to the bottom of the other house. You can also put a little glue on the front of the frame that's going to be covered by the front house. Then press that house onto the stand and push the two houses together. Brush an even coat of Mod Podge onto the roofs of both houses and then sprinkle some glitter snow onto the Mod Podge. Finally, glue some fake little Christmas trees onto both sides of the houses. And that's it. This project is finished, and I just love how it turned out. If you enjoyed this project and want to see more like it, be sure to subscribe to my channel and click on the notification bell so you'll get notified each time I post something new.